It was a warm Saturday morning, the kind where the sun peeks gently through the trees and the stillness of the lake mirrors the calm of a quiet soul. The water shimmered in hues of blue and silver, disturbed only by the gentle sway of a small boat anchored near the dock. On board stood Malcolm Reeves, a man in his late 40s, adjusting the rods and preparing for what he hoped would be a peaceful afternoon of fishing, something he hadn't enjoyed in weeks. Malcolm was no stranger to hard work. Raised by a single mother in Montgomery, Alabama, he had learned early the value of quiet dignity, self-reliance, and patience. Decades later, he was a self-made man and entrepreneur, investor, and, most recently, the private owner of Lake Winston, a modest but beautiful stretch of water in a semi-rural community just outside Atlanta. He had purchased the lake, along with the surrounding land, nearly 2 years ago, quietly and legally. It was a personal retreat, a place for healing, reflection, and peace. No signs announced his ownership, no need for attention. He didn't crave validation, just serenity. But peace has a strange way of inviting disturbance. Malcolm had barely cast his line when he heard the crunch of tires on gravel behind him. A sharp voice followed, curt and unmistakably confrontational. "Excuse me," it snapped. "You can't just park your boat here. This is private property." He turned slowly, calmly, as he always did in tense moments. On the shore stood a woman in a tennis visor and khaki shorts, holding a clipboard like it was a badge of authority. Her name, he would soon learn, was Deborah Whitman, though she introduced herself first and foremost as the president of the Homeowners Association for the surrounding subdivision. "I don't know where you came from," she continued, eyes narrowed, "but we have rules here. That boat needs to be moved immediately. This lake is for residents and approved club members only. I'm calling security if you don't leave in the next 10 minutes. Malcolm blinked, but said nothing at first. He looked at the water, at the clouds reflected in it, then back at her. In that moment, a wave of memories rose in him, not just of his childhood, but of every time a gatekeeper decided he didn't belong: the airport stairs, the restaurant where he was asked to prepay, the bank meeting where he was mistaken for the valet, every subtle reminder that to some, no success could scrub the blackness from his skin. Still, Malcolm wasn't here to argue. He stood up slowly, dusted off his hands, and walked his boat toward the dock. "You're wasting your time," Deborah barked again, waving her phone in the air. "You people always think the rules don't apply." There it was, you people. Malcolm paused. He stared at her, not with anger, but with the quiet gravity of a man who had heard it all before and grown stronger because of it. But before he could say anything, a white SUV pulled up, and 2 other men got out wearing Winston Fishing Club polos. They greeted Deborah with familiarity. "We got a call," one of them said, noticing Malcolm. "This guy giving you trouble." Deborah's tone switched to something performative, sweetly sour. "He says he's just fishing, but I told him this isn't public property. I never said it was." Malcolm finally spoke, his voice even calm and measured. "And you're right, this isn't public." The men exchanged glances. Deborah squinted. Malcolm reached into his bag and pulled out a folded copy of the deed. Thick, official, notarized. He handed it to the older man, who frowned as he read. This can't be right," he muttered, glancing back up at Malcolm. "You own the lake?" "Yes," Malcolm nodded. "And the surrounding land within 200 yards of the waterline, which includes that dock you're standing on, and the private road you drove in on." Deborah's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her composure wavered. "I don't usually make a show of this," Malcolm added, "but since there's been some confusion, I thought it best to clarify." "But the fishing club," the younger man stammered. "We've had access for years." Malcolm nodded again. "Yes, until the previous owner sold the property. Your lease expired a year ago. I chose not to renew it." Deborah stepped forward, trying to recover her sense of command. "Well, if you are the owner, then maybe we can talk about this properly. Maybe we could arrange a meeting with the board and discuss a shared agreement." Her tone had changed now, wrapped in the desperate politeness of someone who realized she had not only misjudged a man, but potentially offended someone with real power. But Malcolm's face remained unchanged. "No need for a meeting," he said. "Gently, I already filed a notice with the county. Starting next week, all unauthorized fishing gatherings and use of this property will be considered trespassing. I gave the club ample time. 2 letters, no response. Just said something, Deborah huffed, her voice rising with frustration and embarrassment. I could have, he replied, but that's not my responsibility. It's yours to know the land you walk on before you lay claim to it. It's your job to approach others with respect, not assumption. There was a long, loaded silence. Even the birds seemed to pause. Behind Malcolm, the lake glistened, unbothered, unapologetic. He walked back to his boat. The dock creaked beneath his boots. I hope you have a peaceful day, he said, pushing off from the dock. And the next time you speak to a stranger, maybe ask before you accuse. As he drifted away, Deborah stood frozen. Clipboard clutched in her arms like a shield she no longer knew how to wield. What she had intended as a simple moment of control had unraveled into something far deeper. A confrontation not just with her own bias, but with the undeniable truth that power doesn't always wear the face you expect. And Dignareel didn't look back. He didn't need to. The ripples he left behind said more than words ever could.